All right, Brent Porcio, TopVelocity.net. I want to do a video on those inside 90 coaching tips that we're hearing a lot of. I believe it's starting to become a problem with the guys that I break down in analysis, and I want to talk about the biomechanics and how it can affect your biomechanics. I understand where coaches want to take an arm, say more 90 to outside 90 and try to bring it in. If you're very rotational, your arm wants to just go where the trunk is sending it, and if you're very rotational, your arm wants to fly out. So to me, it's a bad adjustment to try to pull the arm farther in so it doesn't want to fly out as far, as opposed to just correcting the problem, which is the trunk. The trunk's very rotational, the arm's going to want to fly out, as opposed to just bringing it in. Let's get the trunk more linear. If the trunk's more linear, now the arm doesn't have all that centrifugal force trying to pull it away from the body, and therefore it can stay in a better slot and also carry more energy forward. So that's the key to doing that. But what happens when you try to force inside 90, besides it being harder for it to fly out, it's going to put a lot of stress on your biceps. So those guys have more bicep soreness typically. And also what it does biomechanically. If we're trying to load the arm optimally, and we don't want, if the arm gets out in front of the face when it loads, studies show it's going to delay pronation, it's going to load torque on the arm longer because it's delaying pronation. So when we turn, we want that arm up somewhere around the ear hole and laying back, and it helps load the trunk with it as well. And it's a good way to delay the arm path to the end of the movement. If we're inside 90, there's a better chance it's going to pop ahead and get into that high torque position. Why? Because look, if I'm in a 90 slot here, it's easier for me to scap load. It's easy for me to pinch the scap and go what's called horizontal abduction here. Okay, once I go into 90, see how my elbow wants to come out of that? So here's 90 in a scap loaded position. When I start to bring it too far in, the elbow or the horizontal abduction wants to reduce. It wants to come out of the scap load. Specifically, if I've cocked the arm and I'm here, say I've cocked the arm and I've got good scap loading back here, when I go to here, you can feel it. It wants to bring the arm up. So if the arm is in a good scap loaded position and we turn and load, better chance it's going to load correctly. But if it's in an inside 90 and it can't get back into that scap loaded position, when you turn, it's going to want to pop ahead, increase the loading rate or the time under load by delaying pronation, and then we have problems. So I'm seeing a lot of guys doing this hard inside 90, disrupting the scap load position and forcing the arm or the elbow to push out, and all the problems start to happen. So if I was you, I'd get away from that. I'd go back to a comfortable 90 slot or just inside 90, and I would work on a better, more linear trunk if you're having problems with the fly out. Hope that helps.